Well, it's been quite the month for Final Fantasy XIV, hasn't it? Disconnections, DDoS attacks, oh my, oh my, oh my. Well, let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. It's your boy Jmulls. And no, wait, no, don't summon your retainer, no! So this has been an absolute roller coaster to experience from the outside. So for those who don't know, the NA servers have been getting DDoS to just like disconnections all the freaking time for quite a while at this point. And it's become a rather sticking point for a lot of people, especially since the patch came out. So, you know, people want to play the game. And then we had this update from Square Enix on December 24th, where they updated Final Fantasy XIV. And there's a whole bunch of different patch notes and things like that, but if you scroll all the way down, well, I guess it's not really all the way down, more like halfway down, there was a single bullet point. Under certain conditions, summoning retainers caused server outages. So the funny thing was, for quite a while there, people, possibly out of some copium, believed that the reason the servers kept disconnecting was because people kept summoning retainers, which is just the funniest way for this to possibly have gone down. Look, we always knew that Final Fantasy XIV's back-end code was like held together by spit, bubblegum, and remember when you used to get those wired earbuds that would break unless you had the wire wrapped around your phone at the exact right angle? Otherwise, there was a loud static or they just wouldn't work. Well, that's pretty much all their wiring. And then, reportedly, service still went down quite a few times on Christmas Day. But then, just yesterday, Final Fantasy XIV had another update for us all. Recovery from network technical difficulties caused by DDoS attacks, December 25th. I guess the Final Fantasy XIV community was a little bit naughty, and instead of coal, you got server disconnections. Wait, is that what the elves were doing in Santa's workshop? They were DDoSing Final Fantasy XIV? You know, it starts to make sense when you really think about it and ask the right questions. Anyways, during the time below, we were experiencing network technical difficulties due to a DDoS attack. Players may have experienced the following issues as a result. We will continue to monitor the situation and work with ISPs to come up with countermeasures. Date and time, December 17th, 2025, 10:41 p.m. to December 25th, 2025, 1:35 p.m. in Pacific Standard Time. Players may have experienced the following issues: disconnection from NA data center worlds, difficulty logging into NA data center worlds, difficulty accessing, sending, and receiving data from NA data centers. I like this part, affected servers Final Fantasy XIV, as if it could be anything else. I get why they include that, it's just really funny that a post about the video game saying, yeah, it's affecting the video game. And as someone who has played MMORPGs for, good God, most of my life at this point, it's safe to say that for anyone that plays an MMO or just an online game overall, being randomly disconnected from the server is an extremely frustrating thing. Chances are, if you got disconnected from the game, you wanted to play Final Fantasy XIV at that point in time. And just being told by, no, you can't play the game anymore, at least for right now, because some random people want to do a DDoS attack. I guess they have nothing better to do. It's a really frustrating thing, especially for people that spend quite a bit of money on this game. You gotta remember, this is not a cheap game. You buy the expansion, you pay a monthly sub, and for a lot of people, they will rightly say, hey, I'm paying a non-insignificant amount of money for the ability to play this game and utilize these servers. Can they work? Like, I feel as if that's asking for the bare minimum here. And look, like, I get it, right? It's very easy to just blame Square Enix and Final Fantasy XIV here, and are there things that they can probably do to better mitigate situations like this? Because, while I don't play too many online games, quite a bit of my time is playing online MMORPGs, mainly Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft, but in my years of playing MMOs, I've never seen a game that is as inflicted by DDoS attacks like Final Fantasy XIV is right now. And it might not be necessarily their fault, it could be the fault of the ISP that they're working with, or like someone in that chain. It's just, we know that someone in that chain probably not doing the best job of things. To me, this is a priority issue for the game going forward. They need to find a way to rein this in and to largely remedy these issues. Because no matter how good the content that ends up being, if people can't play consistently and they always have to fear that the game is just going to go offline right as they're getting invested or right as they're doing something important. Like, imagine how big of a blow to the nuts it has to be like on Prague, and you're just about to get a kill, and all of a sudden you get disconnected, right? Like, that's just not a good feeling. Even if you're doing something minor or inconsequential, having your flow be interrupted can be very detrimental to your overall engagement with the product. And like, I do sympathize with them, because at some point, that chain's going to break no matter what. It's not ever going to be invincible, and it's never invincible for any other game either. And I think this is one of those situations where it's really hard to perfectly ascribe blame to any single individual involved, because I'm 99% certain that 99.9% of people, including myself on this issue, just don't fundamentally understand the technology that is at work here. We're not server experts. We don't all work for ISPs and understand how all of these various systems work together and how a DDoS attack can be prevented or fixed or remedied. Some people may have ideas or assumptions and things they have learned online. We don't know necessarily every single thing that's going on here. And I've heard some people ask for like Square Enix to be a bit more transparent when it comes to these issues. And I get that, right? It's like, as a consumer, it's more, I don't know if comfortable's the right word, but let's like stick with comfortable for right now. When the company involved with the game is being transparent with the audience about issues like this, it can at least like assure us in the back of our mind saying, hey, at least they're trying to work on something, right? Like the intention there matters. However, one of the few things that I do know about network security and stuff like this, you don't want to overly communicate, because that can tell people that have malicious intent, that want to DDoS these servers, that want to find security flaws and holes to infiltrate the system. If you inform them in any way, shape, or form how you're addressing the issue or any actual issues that are there, that can give them information you really don't want them to have. I'm also pretty sure Yoshi P's talked about this before on previous live streams about separate security issues. I think he talked about this back when the whole blacklist situation was going on during the beginning of not Endwalker, Dawn Trail. So it's like, I understand how them being almost radio silent for quite a while as these DDoS attacks were going on, as people were continually getting like kicked off the servers when they're doing important stuff or even minor stuff. That can be super frustrating. But at the same time, I don't blame them necessarily for being radio silent. And I may be wrong here, but I haven't personally heard of any DDoS attacks and massive disconnections since this post went up. I think there's a couple of ways to get people to not want to play your game. That is to bore them and turn them into apathetic gamers to where they just don't care about your game to begin with. But also the other one is to continually annoy them. And like I said before, the DDoS attacks, it's not like Yoshi P's in a corner DDoSing his own freaking game, right? But they affect the consumer regardless. But if they happen too frequently, then it's just going to be another straw that you put on the camel's back, and eventually for quite a few people, that back is going to break. And they'll just become annoyed and they won't want to play the game. They'll just get sick of it for a little bit. They'll probably come back, don't get me wrong. But especially in a year that I think is going to be so important for Final Fantasy XIV, which is going to be 2026, and we're going to make a video about what to expect from Final Fantasy XIV in that year, and why I think it's going to be such an important year for the game. You want to mitigate any form of bad press the game can possibly get, especially since we're expecting such a massive lull period. It's like, what? Unless they surprise release 8.0 in 2026, which I do not think is going to happen at all, then we're going to get one major patch in that entire calendar year. I think that patch might be pretty substantial, but it's still only one patch. That is not a lot. And if you want to retain excitement throughout the various fan fests and going into 8.0, having the simple act of playing the game not be filled with like this, I almost don't want to use the word anxiety, but it kind of is, that you're going to get booted offline whenever you're in the middle of doing something important or just anything overall, that dampens excitement, it dampens the will to play, and that's why I think this should be a priority issue for Square Enix moving forward, finding some way, somehow, to mitigate this to the best of their abilities. Because while seemingly it is only the NA data centers, that's still a lot of people. Yeah, man, I really hope they're able to find some way around this. I mean, best of luck trying to find a solution to this whole mess. And here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with how you're feeling about the game going into 2026, what you are most looking forward to from the game in 2026. And are you excited to finally be able to play Beastmaster at some point in that year? I'd love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives. And when you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I really appreciate it. And patch 7.4 was rather substantial for the story, and really gave us an idea as to where things are going in the future, and theories, and your theories abound. So I reacted to your theories for the future of Final Fantasy XIV. You guys have some rather interesting ideas. Want to join in the fun? Well, you should check out this video right here for more. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.